Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Amber. Today I want to talk about my results from the Ancestry DNA versus the 23andMe DNA test. So first of all, let me just say thank you to all my new subscribers. I appreciate it, and thanks to all who have been with me for a little while now. So if you haven't already, please press that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. So this is a kit actually my husband is getting ready to submit for Ancestry. And so in this little box is a little vial that you need to put your saliva sample in. And the instructions say that you're not to have eaten or drank anything within 30 minutes prior. So you register the kit online and then you send off your sample and receive your results back in 4 to 6 weeks, and then you access it online. So I want to talk, I did mine maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, which I was very excited about. Now you might ask, what led me to want to do the DNA testing? I have really been very interested in genealogy for some time. And I used to have an annual membership on Ancestry.com, just doing research in my family trees. And then I kind of let my membership lapse. At some point down the road, I do plan to renew it, but because I find it fascinating. Now, fortunately for me, some research has been done by other family members on both sides of our family. So I do have a lot of information, but there's some gaps that I would like to fill in. So let's just jump right in. Let's talk about first, what are some of the differences between Ancestry DNA and 23andMe? Ancestry.com has what I believe is the largest database. So your results are probably going to be a little more accurate just because there's more DNA samples in the pool. So the one thing that I didn't like about Ancestry.com, it doesn't break down some of the percentages, such as, so I'll go ahead and tell you what Ancestry says I am. I'm sure you guys will be very, very shocked to hear. I'm sure it's very predictable, my ancestry, but sometimes things can be a little surprising. So, Ancestry DNA. Now, this is based on the DNA sampling that they have right now. Your DNA results can come back. They do run updates once they get more DNA samples into their database. So they will vary over the years. They say your DNA does not change, but sometimes some of the results may vary just a little bit. I don't think there'll be anything, earth-shattering to come. However, if anything does, I'll post an update for you. However, it says I am 98% from England, Wales, and Northwestern Europe, and 2% from Ireland and Scotland. So there you have it. Now, this is where Ancestry does not break it down. It just groups England, Wales, and Northwestern Europe. It doesn't tell me the countries because I know that I have some other countries in my heritage. So, yep, 98% England, Wales, and Northwestern Europe, 2% Ireland and Scotland. So that makes me 100% European. Shocking, I know. Get yourself together. Now, for 23andMe rather. 23andMe just varies a little bit here. Of course, I am 99.9% European, according to 23andMe. So it does break it down. Northwestern European, 99.6%. And then it gives a breakdown. So I am 66.2% British and Irish. This includes Greater London, UK, and 9 regions. So British and Irish, 66.2%. I am 18.2 French and German, which I had heard that in our family, that I am French and German as well. 0.8% Scandinavian. And then it just gives 14.3 broadly Northwestern European. So, and then it defines broadly Northwestern European as Norway, Finland, and France. So that's only 14.3%. So that could be part of the French showing up more so. And then it lists, like I said, 0.8% Scandinavian, and they group Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Iceland as the Scandinavian countries. So I like 23andMe because it does break down the countries more so than Ancestry DNA. Both will show you your DNA matches on their website, and you can opt to never reveal anything, never get in contact with any of them. Definitely maintain your privacy if you would like, or you can reach out to those who are in your DNA match. So it's interesting. But the other thing, that one of the reasons why I opted to do 23andMe, just for comparison's sake, for one, but also because they do some, they are largely a medical research company, 23andMe. At least that's how they started out. Now they're branching out more into DNA testing. They kind of got into some trouble with the FDA with the whole breast cancer, testing and all of that. So they've kind of had to back off some of that. Now they're starting to do more testing. Interestingly enough, they have a report on 34 different aspects of my traits that they are able to detect from my DNA. So that I wanted to share with you because I think it's pretty interesting. Also, another thing that they do, they have a health predisposition report, 12 reports available, and then they have a carrier status reports, and they test 44 areas. I won't be going into all of that, but suffice to say, nothing really there. So, but let's go back to the traits report because I think this is very fascinating. It says, explore the genetics behind your appearance and senses. So it says, I'll list the category. It says ability to match musical pitch. And according to my DNA, this is what it says: more likely to be able to match a musical pitch, which is true. You don't want to really hear me sing, but I can sing. Probably not like you want to hear, but I can sing. All right. Asparagus odor detection. This has to do with after you have consumed asparagus, if you can smell it in your urine. Why that's a thing, I don't know, but likely can smell. True. Bitter taste. Likely can taste. Yes. Bunions. More likely than average to have had a bunion. Nah, I don't currently, but all right. Cheek dimples. Likely no dimples. True. Cilantro taste aversion. Slightly higher odds of disliking cilantro, which is not true. I love cilantro. So on that, and maybe that's an acquired thing. I'm not sure. Maybe by DNA I shouldn't like it, but I love Mexican food. I love cilantro. Cleft chin. Likely no cleft chin. That's true. Which I'm thankful for. Dandruff. Less likely to get dandruff. That is true, thankfully. Earlobe type. Likely detached earlobes. That is true. Earwax type. Likely wet earwax. Now that's just TMI, isn't it? Eye color. Likely blue or green eyes. Well, that is true. I have blue eyes. Fear of heights. More likely than average to be afraid of heights. That is true. I don't like heights. I can manage, but I don't like them. All right, let's see. And then it says, I need to unstaple this. All right, fear of public speaking. It says less likely to have a fear of public speaking. Well, yes and no. If I were to give a speech or a talk somewhere, I would be nervous. think most people would. Finger length ratio, likely ring finger longer. I don't think so, but all right. Flat feet, less likely than average to have flat feet. That is true. I have an arch. Freckles, likely little freckling. That's true. Hair photo bleaching, which means your hair lightens with sun exposure. More likely to experience hair photo bleaching. That's true, especially when I was younger. Hair texture, likely straight or wavy. Well, they got me there, wavy. Hair thickness, less likely to have thick hair. That is true. Ice cream flavor preference, more likely to prefer chocolate over vanilla ice cream. Very true. Always have loved chocolate more so. Light or dark hair, likely light. Well, it was light when I was younger anyway. All right, let's see. Mosquito bite frequency, likely bitten as often as others. That's probably true. Motion sickness, more likely to experience motion sickness. I don't really get motion sickness, so doesn't apply. Newborn hair, likely little baby hair. I think that's probably true. Let's see. Red hair, likely no red hair. That is true. Skin pigmentation, likely lighter skin. I'd say that's true. Stretch marks, about a 50-50 chance of having stretch marks. All right, I've had 3 kids. Sweet versus salty, likely prefers salty. That is true. Toe length ratio, likely big toe longer. I think that's true. Unibrow, likely no unibrow. Thankfully, yes, that's true. Wake up time, likely to wake up around 8:07. That is probably very accurate. If left to my own devices, I would probably like to get up around 8 a.m. Yep. And widow's peak, likely no widow's peak. That is true. So I find this very fascinating. Honestly, one of the main reasons why I wanted to do 23andMe was because of the traits and the medical side of it, which cost-wise, I believe when I did mine like 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was $199 for both the DNA and the medical testing. Sometimes they'll run specials, I think around Christmas time. For Ancestry.com, price-wise, I think generally it's about $99. And again, they'll run specials throughout the year, usually around Christmas time. Maybe sometimes you can get it for $69 or so. I actually purchased Ancestry kits for my siblings as Christmas gifts one year because I thought it would be fascinating to compare. Because, you know, contrary to what many people might believe, just because you're siblings does not mean that you're going to match exactly the percentages of what your brother or sister inherited. Because say, you know, my mother was, say she was 25 or 50% French, that doesn't mean you're going to get 12% of that just because you stem from your mother. So, you know, it just has to do with the DNA makeup when you were, you know, upon inception. So it's interesting how DNA works. I find it all so fascinating. Genealogy, DNA, I just love it all. There's a lot more that I would like to learn. But if you were looking to do the DNA, first, I would say, what are your reasons for wanting to do the DNA? If you want to find out the medical traits and that sort of thing, I would say, I would put a little bit of caution there. You do have the option, once your DNA results and your medical traits come back, you do have the option of not viewing that report. And this was kind of a heavy question I had to really internalize and process, because obviously the whole point in me doing 23andMe was to get those results, but they really, really want you to be sure that you are kind of emotionally and mentally stable enough and okay with viewing those results, because like they say, sometimes those results may be troubling. Say, for instance, if it came back that you have a predisposition for cancer, you have some of the traits, etc., they do recommend you speaking with a counselor or medical professional, your doctor, and that sort of thing. So you have to kind of be prepared for what the results may be. But, you know, that said, if you want to proceed in that vein, then you have to ask yourself, do I want to view the report? Now, like I said, if you went the 23andMe route, you know, obviously you've probably already asked yourself that question, am I prepared to view that report or not, and process that. Now, just because you are a carrier or you do have one of the traits, that does not mean that you will for sure 100% get that disease. Obviously your lifestyle, your weight, so much comes into play with that. So just because you get a result that is less than stellar, that does not mean that you are going to get that disease for sure. But fascinating stuff, cutting edge. I mean, it's just amazing how far science has come. Which one would I recommend? If you're just interested in genealogy, and for me, from what I have seen and studied, I think Ancestry.com offers the most reliable, just because their database is larger. So if I were just looking at it from a standpoint of, oh yeah, it'd be cool to see, you know, where I'm from, Ancestry.com would have that. Now, if you want to see the medical traits and all of that, the predisposition for those carrier status items, I would go 23andMe. Or because I tend to be kind of analytical, I do both, which I have, which is why I have. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out to you. Like I said, big surprise here. I'm 100% European, guys. So it is interesting, fascinating stuff. So comment below if you guys have done a DNA testing and what you think about the process, and which company you might recommend, which your experience was, and what you liked about it and what you didn't, or what your hopes are for the future, what we can tell from DNA. So I hope you've enjoyed this little comparison, and hopefully it has helped you to kind of make up your mind if you haven't purchased a DNA kit yet. But thanks for watching today, guys. God bless. Bye-bye.